We'll also take into consideration that strength is mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Your ability to move is strength. I mean, I'm working over at Cat Sports Performance on right off 183 as well, and I'm working doing a whole bunch of their youth performance. So like middle school, like 10 or 13 years old, and then high school, like 14 to 18 years old. And you get some of these kids in, and you tell them to drop into a squat, and they can sit. They can sit in a perfect squat, looking like a frog, but they can't hold it. They get down there, and their bodies literally crumble because they just don't have any basic strength to move or hold position. So I don't need to. I sure as shit don't need to mobilize them. I don't need to do any band distractions. I don't need to do any smashing with them. I have them pull a lot of sleds. I have them push a lot of sleds. I have them. We do a lot of hamstring activation, and then we just do some farmers walking. I mean, just get them some basic strength. That's mobility.
Yeah, and I think it's the whole holistic concept we talked about, right? It's the W, not with an H. Holistic meaning complete, everything.
Yep.
So just like you were saying earlier with putting the salt in your water in terms of tissue absorption of the water. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. Everything you do. Now, even the food you put in to your body affects your performance in everyday life. How you move, how you communicate, how you talk, the energy you have for the rest of the day. Everything's all connected. It's one big interconnected web of neurons, nerves. It's all one big thing. So I agree. It's kind of messed up to separate it into systems when it's all one big interconnected loop. You can't do one without the other. And if you do, you're suboptimal. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a restriction in the ankle, you go at the ankle as a whole with the interrelation of all those systems. Maybe it's a lack of blood flow. Maybe you need to throw some compression bands on there.
Yeah.
I mean, it could just be your calf or your anterior tib is just not turning on. I mean, that's a neurologic issue. Like, it doesn't. We can't just limit ourselves to being like, oh, that's not moving. Let's jump on a ball. I mean, it needs to be a little bit more like, all right, what is moving, what is not moving, and let's kind of deconstruct that.
Exactly. Or even the whole headache thing. Like, oh, I have headaches all the time. Well, what kind of position is your neck in every single day?
Oh yeah.
Are you always drawn forward with your neck? It's going to definitely affect your head.
Right? As I reset my position.
Yeah.
It's all right. I just got straight up organized.
So, and it's really interesting. I have a client out in San Francisco, and before we started doing online training, she got with this trainer at this gym, and they do like an introductory like movement assessment. And what they had her do, you'll kind of laugh at this, is they would have her like jump on the stability ball.
Oh, good. Great.
With one leg.
Oh.
This is their assessment. With one leg, she would hop on the stability ball and then hop on the other side and keep going back and forth. And it was to assess her balance. It was to assess how stable her ankle was. And it's kind of really funny. She twisted her ankle. And she busted her ankle.
On a dome surface.
Yeah.
What a surprise.
Exactly. And she told me this, and she was like, oh, he was trying to assess my movement. And I was like, wow.
I was trying to get more sessions out of you by hurting your ankle.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's just surprising to see that there are professionals out there that think that this is a way to assess movement. And people don't know any better. Right? People will go and be like, oh yeah, it's just assessing my movement. I guess I just got hurt. I have to get better at this.
I don't know, it's so hard to, like, I don't know if that's progress. Yeah. Because it's like, all right, at least this excuse of a trainer or someone who wants to call themselves a health professional, which, by the way, anybody in the health profession should have to take the Hippocratic Oath.
I agree.
Above all else, I will do no harm. Like, come on, like, really. If you don't think that, like, half your people are going to twist ankles, from jumping on a dome surface, then
single leg,
whatever. But anyway, so this proverbial retard is going to I don't know if that's progress or not. The fact that he's looking at it and being like, I'm gonna assess your balance. I like where your spirit's at, buddy.
Yeah.
But I just think that you don't exist on the earth of health promotion. So whereas before people were motivators and weren't thinking about any assessment, they weren't thinking about doing um, any movement consideration. I guess it's progress, but is it progress if you're hurting people in the process? I'd much rather have someone be like, all right, I'm just going to motivate you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just disgusted a little bit at a lot of it.
Let's be real.
At the state of our industry. And I do think it's changing because I do think higher quality people are now walking away from other professions. Like I know you walked away from going to med school. I walked away from going to med school. You know, I did my undergraduate in neuroscience. You know, at an Ivy League school, we've both done our masters. I'm finishing up my thesis. Like there are higher quality people who are saying, I don't want to go into conventional allopathic medicine because I don't like where they're too head in the sand. They're not coming at it from a WH from a whole perspective from the systems. It's just an inner system.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I am a bigger blessing to this world by going into wellness, strength, conditioning, whatever you sort of want to call it, but it's away from that drug culture.
Yeah.
So things are looking up, but we still have such abysmally low standards for people to get in that it's just harmful. Like above all else, I will do no harm. Like Hippocratic oath.
Yeah.
Like take responsibility. Use your head. Like if you've worked out for even a month, you should know that like this doesn't feel good. This should or should not feel good, right? Like it's your body being like this is awkward. Awkward is different than like wow that was difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Difficult's okay. Awkward is not.
Mm-hmm.
So that means this trainer needs to try his own test.
Mm-hmm.
Twist his ankle a couple times and be like, oh, maybe this isn't a good way to go.
And it's like you've said before, it's like getting people back to baseline, right? The primal innate movements we've been given by God or whatever, higher being out there. It's basic stuff. How can you squat? Will you be able to squat to full depth? I mean, that's a basic innate primal thing. Are you able to lunge? Are you able to twist? Are you able to bend?
Stand?
Yeah, are you able to stand? With a proper static posture, can you even do that? So, it's just the basics, getting back to basics. And it doesn't have to be complicated. Because even if you look at a deadlift, people complicate the whole weightlifting game. What is it? It's just, if you want to make it really simple, you're sticking your ass out, you're bending your knees, picking something off the floor. Right? Of course, you have to create all these internal cues to make sure you get it up the right way. You're activating the right musculature. But it's a movement. It's not just you swinging around weights. Right? Let's train the movement.
And you have to create all these internal cues, and you have to think about all these things because you're so disconnected from the natural state of things. Like, you shouldn't have to turn on your glutes. You shouldn't have to activate the hamstrings. You shouldn't have to cue all these things to be able to perform it. It should just happen. Now, don't get that confused and think that means that we toss out all the cueing. Actually, exact opposite. It just shows you the state of horror that we're in right now. You shouldn't have to cue the glutes to turn on. They should just be dominant. They should be there. They should take the brunt of the load. You shouldn't have to think about it. It just happens. But we have just screwed up so badly that we just have mistreated our gift of this body and our approach to it, that we now actually have to go back and systematically, consciously learn how to use this get it back to baseline, and then let it do its thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? Going back to what you were saying before, the whole drug model and how we kind of moved away from medicine, at least Western medicine. I was talking to a friend back in Houston, and I was asking him a question about how the Western model works in terms of the medical field. And he told me that they're just not very incentivized by teaching people wellness, teaching patients how to be well. They're incentivized by the treatments that they give and the medications that they prescribe. That's how they typically get paid. And because of the amount of people they see every single day, it's hard. He was telling me it was hard for them to provide wellness education, wellness counseling, and it's hard for them to even refer them to a trusted practitioner, so to speak, whether it's a fitness coach or a holistic strength and wellness coach, whatever it is, because they're unaware of what's actually out there. And it's not even in their curriculum, for that matter. And that's fascinating, right? I mean, it's basically an interventional model. If when shit goes wrong, come see us.
Right, but the interventional model works when an intervention is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happening is, and I'm nowhere near against anything or any field or even MDs. It's that let's use an MD as an MD.
Absolutely.
Like, let's not go to an MD to have them treat diet with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you have a nutritional eating problem, we need to fix your nutritional eating problem, not treat your eating problem with a medication, with a drug.
Exactly.
And, let's, MDs only get, in med school, they only get like a crash course, 1 credit of nutrition. It's nowhere near comprehensive. And they don't do any kinesiology, biomechanics, neuromotor control. If you look at the curriculum, none of that is included. And it just drives me batshit crazy when you have someone come to you and is like, well, my doctor said I shouldn't lift, I shouldn't this or I shouldn't that. And it's like, your doctor has no background in biomechanics, kinesiology, or how the body moves. It's how metabolically things happen from the inside out, or drug interactions to change the different axes. But they know nothing about eating, and they know nothing about actual movement training from their education and from what they've been taught. That's not to say there's not someone who happens to be an MD who has pursued this obviously on their own. Mm-hmm. But that's an individual perspective. I'm saying in terms of formal educational background, it's not a given.
Yeah.
It's not an assumed. And if you really want to test to make sure you're going to the right doctor, there's a real quick test that I give to see if this is a doctor I want to continue to see. And you ask them one question: how much do you deadlift? Well, I think you should come in for this visit. Excuse me, doc. I just want to know one thing. How much do you deadlift? If they have no idea, find another doctor.
I agree. I agree. I think before it used to be how much can you bench press? Like everyone's like, how much can you bench do? I think it should be how much can you deadlift. That's such a crucial movement.
Or I like my other test is this is my test for finding just generally finding a trainer or a strength coach or in your area is walk up to them and say, can you squat ass to grass with a vertical torso right now? No, just dead, no warm up, nothing. Just please squat for me. Please squat for me. And if they can't go glutes to boots, like vertical torso, like knees driving out, like if it doesn't look like a squat, find a new trainer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then it tells me that the said trainer is not prioritizing the most important thing in your fitness journey. Right.
You know, and